Yay, I'm live. Happy Monday. Oh my gosh. Do you guys feel like it's been like a 36-hour Monday? I feel like the day has just like, where did it go? So I promised you I'd go live. It is now like, I don't know what, it's now 7:20. So anyways, let's go live. Let's answer some questions. I'm making dinner. There that goes. I'm making dinner. Let's get this all set up. Making dinner, trying to get that taken care of so I can eat dinner, go to bed early, and call it a day. Anyone else feel like it's been one of those days? I do. Okay, so let's answer the questions. We were waiting for your live. Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you. Yeah, I brought my pimple to the live as well, so don't forget that we both showed up for the live. Okay. Lots of questions. Oh my gosh, I don't ever know if I can get through this. Do I ever experience brain fog? Yes. I don't know if it has anything to do with herpes. I have heard people say that they've experienced it from taking the antiviral. Again, I don't know. It also could mean that you have an overgrowth of bacteria. It could mean a lot of things. I recommend a naturopath. I have naturopath. I also take I take probiotics daily, and that has helped significantly. The other thing with brain fog was my thyroid. So again, I have no idea if this is herpes or other things going on. It could be a trickle effect, but I would recommend a naturopath. I have one if you want one. I can link her here, or probiotics. Don't know if it's herpes. How do I get over my ex? Wait, why can't I see it? How to get over my ex. Been with him for a year. We found out we both have HSV1 together. So you're breaking up, I guess. As far as getting over your ex, I think if you know the relationship isn't right, you have to go back to the foundation or the red flags and realize, like, I knew this wasn't right, and therefore this is not what's right for me in my relationship. And you have to trust. I don't know if you have a faith-based relationship or universe-based relationship, but you need to trust that there is something better for you, whether that requires you taking the time to learn or whether that is, right there on your doorstep. I don't know that answer. So yeah, I'm struggling here, guys. You had your first outbreaks about 3 weeks ago and had sex for the first time yesterday, and it really hurt. Looks like I have a cut on my perineum. Is that normal? Could it be another outbreak or maybe just not healed? It might be an outbreak. A lot of times the herpes can show up in paper cut form, so it could potentially be an outbreak. It could just be from sex. I don't really know. As far as sex with herpes, it shouldn't hurt. It shouldn't really affect that. It could be like you're scared and you're tense. That can affect it if you're like, ugh. I know after I had Clinton, the first time I had sex after having Clinton, I was like I had to have a glass of wine to have sex, and at that point I wasn't even drinking wine. So it was scary for me to do that again, right? So that could potentially be what's going on, or it could be an outbreak, and regardless, it doesn't really matter, and it is something that it doesn't matter. It's a matter of connecting with your body and overcoming that and accepting that that's what it is. Can I share utensils if you have HSV1? Yes, you can. If you have HSV1 orally, you could potentially transmit it. Perfect example, here's a fork. Let's say I had an oral outbreak. Let's say I did that and then said, hey, try it. You could potentially transmit it like that. But as far as just sharing utensils, I share utensils with my son, with my husband, it's something that I'm choosing to do because it's a normal, natural part of life. So yes, you can share utensils. If you do not have oral herpes, there's nothing to worry about. If you do, it's just a matter of being aware that you could potentially transmit it if you have an outbreak or if the viral shedding is happening. Is it bad to take 5 antivirals pills a day with an outbreak? Yes. So you would definitely want to talk to your doctor about that. Most antivirals should be taken in 1,000 milligrams. That's usually the max. By taking 5, that would be 2,500 milligrams, which would be a lot. That's a lot of antivirals, and going in your system. I would say you should take lysine. That's a natural way. Putting some meatballs in my pasta. That's a natural way to help fight the herpes virus internally. But I would say, yeah, taking 5 antiviral pills in a day when you have an outbreak is a lot. It's hard on your system, and you probably you don't want to do that. Not to scare you by any means, but I would probably say don't do that one again. Thanks for asking that one. Which antiviral do you take to prevent spreading it to your husband? I actually don't take an antiviral. I did take it for about 3 years prior to my husband, and like a little bit was when I was dating my husband. But at this point, I do not take the antiviral. What we had would never have been anything more. He's just mature. He's mature and all that jazz. Now I feel I'm kind of feeling down about 2 guys, so I know it sounds bad. I would just let it's run its course. If like there's a reason why you're not with that guy, then I would trust that there's a reason why you're not with that guy, and that there's somebody else or something else that you need to do or discover. How do I know if I'm shedding because I didn't get on as much? Okay, I'll scroll up. How do I know that you're shedding? You don't. That's the unfortunate thing about this, is you don't know when the viral shedding is happening. So like an outbreak, obviously we know we're having an outbreak because we know how that feels. But viral shedding is something we unfortunately don't know when that's happening. And that's kind of like the gray area in the room. How do I have a child when I have herpes? So the herpes doesn't affect the pregnancy whatsoever. And it's just the delivery that is a little bit tricky. And it's a matter of you and your partner and your doctor getting on the same page. So they may say they want to do a C-section, or they may feel comfortable with having a vaginal delivery. It's what you feel comfortable with and what your doctor feels comfortable with. You really like this guy. When me and my boyfriend took our first break, I met this guy. He's mature. We have friends with benefits relationship. I started to catch feelings, and he told me. He told you he has herpes. I don't know what he told you. You had a vaginal delivery. Yes, I had a vaginal delivery. It was an intense 2.5 days. But yes, I had a vaginal delivery. And that was my choice. That was my doctor's choice. That was my husband's choice. That was something that we all felt comfortable with. And most importantly, I felt comfortable with. That's the way that nature has intended it. And so therefore, I'm going to go forward with that. TMI, no TMI whatsoever, ever. Where can I buy lysine? You can get it on Amazon. Also, I like the SOAR supplements. I helped create them. That you take them AM and PM. They are, it's about 2,000 milligrams of lysine a day. There's some in the morning, some in the evening, and it's also an immune booster. So it is really great. You couldn't text the rest, so it's like 3 messages that got into one. That's why I was like, scroll up so you can get the whole spill. May I ask you how long you had herpes before getting pregnant? I got diagnosed in 2011, and I had I got pregnant in 2019. I got pregnant in 2019. So 2.5 days of labor. Yep. Awesome. But totally worth it. Totally worth that little love bug. Would do it again for him any day. I would do 4.5 days for him. Do you take antiviral daily? What other vitamins should someone with HSV be taking? No, I don't take the antiviral daily. I do take prenatal vitamins still. I take D, I take zinc, I take C, I take monolaurin. That's what I take. I own a probiotic. I got your second culture swab done on Friday, so waiting on results. Okay, hang in there. I know this is like a hard one. You're HSV1 positive with the PCR test. Today, I'm going to ask to get an IgG and IgM. I've noticed I only get one bump that looks like a pimple all the time. Since I've been getting it, I've been suspicious I have herpes. Is HSV1 and HSV2 like different from each other? They do not. They look the same. You can't tell which one is from the other. So I went to get tested for the herpes doctor, and they said they can't because the bump dried. So how else can I get tested? So the best way to get tested is if you have an active outbreak, you can test like get a swab in there, like if it's like nice and juicy, you know? And then if it is, if you don't have an outbreak and you've had it for a while, the antibodies can potentially determine if you have herpes. So you can do an antibody test without having an outbreak. The key thing about the antibodies are that if you are newly diagnosed with herpes or newly contracted herpes, you probably aren't going to have the antibodies in your system, so you may test negative. So if you're getting outbreaks and it's been a while, you probably would have the antibodies by now, so that would probably be a good way to find out if you have it, to get that blood test done. I've set my timer for my pasta. Okay. I heard they're doing clinical trials for HSV next year. Will you participate? I don't know anything about it. You know, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the cure could be worse than what you have. Like don't fix what's not broke. I'm okay with having herpes. I don't mind having outbreaks. It doesn't affect me personally. I've overcome it. It's part of who I am. So I'm not necessarily sure I would try to get rid of it. Does that make sense? My doctor suspects I was born with herpes and never experienced an outbreak. Is that possible? It is possible. People can contract it during childbirth. They also can contract it at a very young age from their parent or parents. Does the number on the scale mean anything as far as like the HS, like the HGG or HM8, whatever that is? By the way, this is like a glass of wine, and I'm a lightweight, and so I've had a glass of wine. Just letting you all know that. Can you transmit HSV in the future? You can always transmit it once you have it if you're shedding or have an active outbreak. Does keeping it from spreading work better with 1 or 2 pills a day? I don't know if it's like 1,000 milligrams, 500 milligrams. I would ask a doctor about that, but I do know taking the daily antiviral, which would be the Valtrex or valcyclovir, it does reduce the transmission by 48%. How much you have to take to get that, I'm not sure. That I don't know. How can I know if I'll see what that next question is. So I asked a question less positive, the live, and it didn't get posted. What was it? Is it possible partners to both have first outbreak same time, but both different types? That would be kind of rare, but yeah, I mean, it's all possible. Relationship 8 years, one has HSV, one orally, and recently I have been diagnosed with HSV too. If you have 2 different types of HSV in relationships, does that definitely mean someone cheated? It doesn't mean someone cheated. It means that potentially you've both had it. I have to sneeze. You both had it for a while, especially if you know the person hasn't cheated. You could have had this for a long time. You may have already had an outbreak and not even known it. You could have had it as a child, not remembered. It could have been something so little as a paper cut. You thought nothing of it. It also could be, or it could be that the person contracted it. Potentially they cheated. You don't know. It's definitely worth a conversation, but I wouldn't start pointing fingers yet until you completely understand the virus. Okay, what do you do if your doctor refuses to check your IgG levels again? I would say go somewhere else for it. There's lots of other places you can go. Ask another doctor. You can go to Planned Parenthood. There's a lot of places you can go. You can go to Herp Alert and have them request a lab test for you. If you go to Herp Alert, use lifewithherpes as the promo code because they hook you up. But there's a lot of ways you can get another blood test. I caught HSV2 in 2019. Do you think I have enough antibodies to not transmit the virus to my face? Yeah, so ideally if you've had herpes and you have the antiviral, you won't transmit it to yourself. It's pretty hard to reinfect yourself with the same virus. So yeah, you should be good. You had a cold and no outbreak, so I'm assuming my body got used to the herpes and knows how to work with it. So I'm happy. Yay, that's great. That's awesome. All right, guys, I am, going to finish. Wow, I'm having a hard time here. I'm going to finish making dinner. I'm going to go. I just went to the doctor and I had a bump on my lip. He said, yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's called a clinical diagnosis. I would have it swabbed or do a blood test to make sure and confirm and know what strain it is, or type. That's gonna be really important. Pain when peeing, fever, chills, but no sores at all. Could that be herpes related? I've tested positive for both through blood. It could be. It could also be another STD or STI. I'm not that familiar with chlamydia or gonorrhea. I don't necessarily know what their symptoms are, but I know like pain during urination and things could be part of it. So I would definitely have that checked out. You do not want to let those go. It's so interesting because we get all freaked out about herpes, but there's a lot of other STIs out there that actually cause a lot more of disarray in our body. And so it's important to get them checked out. If you don't have active outbreaks, can you still shed? Yes, the viral shedding happens. It's silent. We don't know. We don't know when it happens, unfortunately. All right, my friends, have an awesome Monday. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna finish my pasta. I'm gonna eat it. It's 7:35 in Las Vegas, and I really hope to be in bed by 8:35. Like, that is my goal. I cannot wait. I'm exhausted. I'm done. It's a Monday. All right, guys, and don't judge me on that. Okay, bye. Have an awesome day. I will see you all soon. I appreciate every single one of you. Bye, guys.